Good day, everybody. It's Andrew here, and welcome back to my channel. We've got huge updates today regarding a new deal that Nancy Pelosi just put together in the House. So in this video, we're going to have updates on the checks for seniors, as this is something that Bernie Sanders is trying to include in the next stimulus package. So let's discuss all of this in this video, but before we do me a quick favor, hit the like button, hit subscribe, and share this channel with anyone who you think might find this helpful. This channel is a community for seniors and those who are disabled, and my job is to be a voice for you to make sure that Congress is taking care of the people who deserve it the most, especially after you paid taxes your entire life when it comes to Social Security retirement. So let's discuss the details of everything going on, but before we jump into it, let's do a quick update on daily trending news. Now, with news coming out that the first documented case of Omicron variant was found in the United States in San Francisco, President Biden is tightening travel testing requirements and mask mandates as part of a broader plan to fight the pandemic. Now, the Biden administration is tightening travel rules to and within the U.S., now requiring that all inbound international flights to test within 24 hours of departure. See, previously it was within 72 hours. Now they're tightening it to 24 hours, so it's going to make it a little tougher for those who are traveling. Of course, it's probably the right thing to do. It's definitely the safer thing to do to try and slow the spread of this variant. But let me know your thoughts on that in the comments below. Now, as far as the mask mandates on flights, they're extending the mask requirements on all domestic flights and public transportation through March 18th. This was originally supposed to expire in January. Of course, they were probably going to extend that anyway. Now, all of these changes are part of their plan to try and control the spread of this new variant. If you take a look at this map, it shows the emergence of Omicron variants across the globe, and it's got the dates. So see, I highlight here. Obviously, it started in South Africa. The first reported case was on November 24th. And then just above South Africa and Botswana on November 26th. Now look, just within a week, basically 5 days, it's made it to Nigeria, December 1st, Ghana, December 1st, Spain, November 29th, Portugal, November 29th, Germany, November 27th, all the way to Brazil, November 30th, Australia, November 28th, the United States, December 1st, Canada, November 28th, Alaska, December 1st as well, all the way out here in Japan, November 30th. I mean, it's insane to see the visualization of how fast these viruses can spread, and it just goes to show why the White House is trying to tighten travel and mask mandates once again. So that's going on. It's pretty crazy. Then we also have Omicron affecting potentially inflation and the stock market. Of course, the stock market has tanked recently. There's a lot of uncertainty when it comes to stocks and bonds because things are so unknown. Will the Omicron variant get worse? Will it kind of subside like the Delta variant did? We'll have to wait and see. But the stock market is something I've been thinking about talking more about on my channel as far as trending news. And let me know in the comments if you're interested in that. I'm always trying to see what you guys are most interested in. Now, one quick thing on the stock market. A lot of experts are saying that there are some indications that things are looking very similar to they did back before the tech bubble burst in the early 2000s, the internet bubble back around 2001. Now, mainly what they're saying here is that there's a lot of volatility, stocks are really overpriced, and the different indices like the NASDAQ and the Dow are showing different prices, which has been correlated to when bubbles tend to burst. But I won't go too deep into that. Just let me know if you're more interested in stocks. Now, yesterday in trending news, we talked about Dr. Oz. All of you know Dr. Oz as the TV personality. You either like him or you hate him. He's a very polarizing figure, and he's aligned himself with former President Trump. And now he's running for the Senate seat in Pennsylvania. And now headlines are saying that the Dr. Oz show was pulled in New York and Pennsylvania in light of Dr. Oz's Senate run. When you first see this headline, it looks like they pulled him because they don't like him, almost like they're canceling him from the show. But that's not the situation. Basically, there's rules in New York where you have to give every candidate equal airtime. So because of legal situations. So if Dr. Oz has an hour-long show every day, every other candidate in Pennsylvania would have to get an hour-long showing as well. And the reason they have to do this in New York is because the same broadcast goes to New York and Pennsylvania. So this is really a technicality. Otherwise, it would have been chaotic trying to have every single candidate be on Fox for an hour every single day. And this is actually Fox, right? So Fox likes Republicans. He's running Republican. So they're not canceling Dr. Oz. This is really just out of a technicality to not have to give every other candidate an hour on Fox News, on Fox's channel every single day. So just wanted to point that out. It's kind of interesting. Let me know your thoughts on that, guys. Let me know if you like Dr. Oz. And let me know what you think about celebrities, even if they're B-list celebrities, running for office, running for Senate, running for presidency. I mean, I feel like Donald Trump almost started a movement. It's going to be interesting to see how many more celebrities try and jump into politics. Now, a couple more quick things on trending news. Top aide to Kamala Harris expected to leave White House in second high-level departure from vice president's office. So this is something that's been in the news a lot. The drama around Kamala Harris. It doesn't seem like she's happy. So with all these reports of drama between Kamala Harris, like, does President Biden get along with Kamala Harris? Does Kamala Harris get along with President Biden? Is Kamala Harris upset that President Biden is basically giving her the no-win tasks, like immigration at the border, things like that? Like, you really can't win with those type of situations. So things continue to intensify. It's kind of a weird situation because we've never seen a situation where maybe the vice president gets replaced, maybe she steps down, maybe she runs in 2024 and President Biden doesn't endorse her, maybe she runs against President Biden. So these things are interesting, folks. That's why I'm sharing it with you. Now, as far as inflation, polls show that 77% of Americans now say inflation is personally affecting them, and 57% of people blame President Biden for this inflation. So let me know in the comments, folks. Do you blame President Biden for the inflation? Let me know your thoughts. Do you think it's due to President Biden, the way he's handling the economy, the way he's handling the supply chain issues, or do you think it's more of just a phenomenon of the economy reopening after the pandemic, and it's something that most presidents would have had a hard time tackling? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Now, personally, I'll give you my opinion. Now, I always try not to take sides when it comes to politics. It's very difficult for me because the point of my channel is to be a voice for you guys. But if I ever give my opinions on politics, it can be tough because half of you vote Republican, half of you vote Democrat. But to be honest with you, I would say 80% to 90% of what's happening with inflation is due to the global economy reopening all at once. And I'd say 10 to 15% of it, maybe 20%, is President Biden. Maybe he could have done a better job in some ways, right? Maybe they could have forecasted this better. They knew inflation was going to be an issue to some extent, but they thought it was going to be transitory, right? They thought it would last a few months, maybe 6 months, and it's lasting a lot longer than they thought. So quite honestly, if they had realized from the beginning that inflation was going to last longer than they thought, they could have started taking care of it preemptively, and maybe it wouldn't have gotten so bad. Just my thoughts. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. But obviously, they were wrong when it comes to inflation being transitory. They've already admitted that. That's a fact. So if they would have known that before, they could have started taking care of this sooner. All right, folks, let's talk about stimulus and the new deal that Nancy Pelosi just did in the House and stimulus checks for seniors. What's going on with that in the Senate? Just to recap, the Senate is doing the stimulus check package in the Senate as the House already approved that a couple of weeks ago. They're currently waiting for the parliamentarians to approve what can and can't be in that package. Then they're going to start to debate what they can take out and what they can add in. Bernie Sanders is trying to add in the stimulus checks for seniors. Joe Manchin is trying to take things out like paid family leave. He's probably going to try and take out the checks for seniors as well, so that's going to be a huge battle. But at the same time, we have the House, we have Democrats trying to increase the debt ceiling, avoid a government shutdown, and also pass the separate spending bill on the National Defense Act. So basically, the annual spending for the military and national defense. So what the heck is going on? What did Nancy Pelosi do? And what is the deal that she did in the House? Well, this article is titled, House Democrats Reach Deal on Stopgap Government Funding Bill. So what they mean by stopgap is basically what they did a couple of months ago. Remember, there was a worry of the debt ceiling crisis and potentially a government shutdown. Well, they extended it for 2 months until mid-December. Now, Nancy Pelosi has put together a deal in the House to extend it for another 3 months until the middle of February, right? So the goal is to get that done today. So this is the deal that Nancy Pelosi put together, and it is going to have an effect on stimulus, folks. So bear with me here. She's getting this done. Probably today is what they're saying. We'll see if that comes to fruition. But it's been said that this deal has been put together and will be done today. Now, the implication here is that now, once they approve that, it's going to go to the Senate. And the Senate's going to have to do a couple of things. First, it's going to debate this, and it's going to have to approve it by midnight tomorrow, Friday night, or the government is technically going to shut down. And we'll talk about in a minute what happens if a government shuts down. See, this article is titled Government Shutdown 2021. These services will be inaccessible if the debt ceiling isn't raised by September 15th. So a government shutdown will affect some services, including potentially Social Security benefits. So we'll talk about that in just a minute. But real quick, let's watch this clip from CNBC, kind of detailing what's going on with this deal that Pelosi put together, how it has to do with stimulus, and what we expect to happen next. So let's take a look, see what they had to say. Then we'll discuss the details of what's happening with the stimulus check for seniors, a government shutdown, and how it's correlated with government funding.
Some breaking news in this hour. The House Appropriations Committee chairwoman saying an agreement has been reached on a continuing resolution to fund the United States government. Elon Moy joins us from Washington with the latest. But Elon, I thought we were in a position where any senator could slow this down. So I don't know if this is just an agreement in the House or something that we can anticipate will actually be passed by the Senate as well. What's the deal?
Yeah, Becky, this process is a little bit complicated, but it starts with an agreement on a timeline, and Democrats are now saying that they have that agreement with Republicans to fund the government ahead of tomorrow's deadline at midnight. Chairwoman Rosa DeLauro is saying that the deal would last through February 18th. It doesn't include any special funding measures or so-called anomalies beyond a $7 billion allocation for Afghanistan refugees. She said that the House will vote on this measure today, and then it would head over to the Senate. Unclear how long it would take the Senate to process this vote because of that threat from conservatives to delay any votes because of their opposition to the president's vaccine mandates. There is little doubt that this will eventually pass in the Senate, but if some conservatives do draw out this process, that could mean that the Senate would miss the Friday at midnight deadline in order to fund the government, send the government into a technical shutdown, but then eventually pass this bill sometime over the weekend. So the important thing is now they have an agreement on a date. That date would be February 18th. Now the question mark is how long will it take them to actually finally pass this vote?
There are no more levers for the Treasury Department, for the Secretary of the Treasury or anybody else to pull to say, even if it doesn't get passed by midnight, that what's a technical shutdown look like at this point?
Yeah, a technical shutdown would be one that just lasts for a few hours. You know, when we think about government shutdowns in the past, that means people don't get paid, they can't show up to work, critical missions perhaps aren't underway. In this case, when the government is only shut down for a few hours, you know, there's very little real world impact. So that actually creates an opening for some conservatives to say, hey, we just want to take the full time to debate some of these really important measures like a vaccine mandate, in order to draw attention to.
Okay, so February 18th is how long this deal would fund the federal government, avoiding a government shutdown. Now, we're going to talk about what this would affect. What services would be affected and shut down if the government shuts down? Like, would this affect Social Security benefits? Would it affect SNAP payments? There's a lot of low-income programs that would be affected by this. Now, really quick, I want to discuss the difference between the debt ceiling and the government shutdown. Those are two different things, and they kind of get confused. People think of them as the same thing because there's been two dates thrown out there. There's been December 3rd. People have said December 3rd is when there's going to be a government shutdown. And then there's the debt ceiling crisis, which leads to a default, which leads to the U.S. not being able to pay its debts. That is what Janet Yellen said would run out about December 15th. So what's the difference? Aren't they the same thing? Well, they're similar but slightly different. So think of the two things think of the debt ceiling as being a credit card, where you're basically raising your credit limit to pay for things that you already borrowed last year. And then think of the government shutdown as depending on a debit card. You need to fund the government with a debit card, meaning money is already in that account to actively pay for it every single week or every single month. And those are the two differences, right? So what Nancy Pelosi's deal is a federal funding expansion until the middle of February, basically the debit card, the federal funding to avoid a government shutdown. The government's going to have money in its bank account, and it's going to keep paying its bills every single week to avoid shutting down. Now, the debt ceiling is different, and the shutdown would be December 3rd, tomorrow on midnight, if they don't get that done. Now, the debt ceiling is different. Think of that as the credit card, and think of it as their credit limit. And every year they have to raise their debt ceiling limit to keep paying for things that they previously borrowed. So they basically need to raise the debt ceiling to pay for the stimulus packages from last year, to pay for the tax cuts for the rich that Trump did in 2017. All of these things are like raising a credit line, raising the debt ceiling to pay for things that were already borrowed previously. And if they don't raise the debt ceiling, they default on their debts. Basically like you not paying your credit card bill for stuff that you already borrowed before, right? So I hope that kind of makes sense. I tried to explain it as simply as possible. The government shutdown and the debt ceiling are two different things. The government shutdown depends on active government funding, and the debt ceiling is really how much debt the government can take on to pay for their bills that they already accrued in previous years. So December 3rd, which is tomorrow at midnight, is the deadline for the government shutdown, and December 15th is the deadline to raise the debt ceiling. So hope that kind of makes sense. It was a long explanation, but it's important. It's very, very important. Now, Government Shutdown 2021. These services will be inaccessible if the debt ceiling isn't raised by December 15th. Now, I'm going to go into this one in my next video, guys, so please watch my next video today. I'm going to discuss which agencies would be affected by a government shutdown. This could include Social Security benefits. It could include SNAP benefits, unemployment benefits, so many things that could affect those who are on SSI, ssdi, and Social Security benefits. So please watch my next video. We're going to detail on that. But currently, Bernie Sanders is trying to include a $1,000 stimulus check for seniors in this stimulus package, but they're waiting for the parliamentarian to give their final decision on what can be included in this package and what cannot. Like, for example, remember in the third stimulus check package, they had to take out the minimum wage increase that was not allowed due to certain rules. They're going to have to do the same thing here. So they're probably going to take out immigration reform and a couple of other things, but the bulk of it will make it in this package. And the good news is, it looks like checks for seniors would be allowed by the parliamentarian. We'll have to find out in the next week or two, but we should have a lot of updates to come as the parliamentarian decides what can and can't be in this stimulus check package. But again, it looks like stimulus checks for seniors will be allowed, and Bernie Sanders continues to push for that. So guys, do me a favor, subscribe, and keep watching my videos because I will keep you posted as things develop. The next stimulus package should be approved by Christmas. Bernie Sanders is trying to include a stimulus check for seniors in that package. And at the same time, Democrats are trying to address the debt ceiling crisis and avoid a government shutdown, as well as fund the National Defense Act, aka the military budget. So a lot of updates to come, guys. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will keep you posted as things develop. So with that said, guys, thank you so much for watching, and until the next video, take care and have a great day.